We'll share my screen. All right, can you guys see that? Should be good. All right, great. So let's see, where we left off last week was we had lists, right? Remember, in lists you can put anything inside. These just happen to be integers and strings. And we made our own max and min functions, just to go over how to make functions, how to use parameters, how to define your own functions, how to use for loops, if statements, how to return stuff. And then they work perfectly fine. But in Python, the great thing is there are so many built-in functions that you don't even have to write your own min or max functions. So in Python, there's two built-in functions, min and max. And when I say function, it's just, remember I'm saying function, and then later on I'm going to use another word called a method. And there is a difference between functions and methods, but they do very similar things. In fact, you can consider them the same. They're just different different names for separate like scenarios. You could put it that way. And I'll show you the difference, and you'll once you see the difference, you'll be able to recognize what is a method and what is a function. But functions are the first thing you learn, and then methods are basically functions for objects, specifically for objects. So we have the min and max functions here, and if you want to just review how to use that, we'll comment this out. All right, great. And then we can give some space here. Oh, here we go. So these are two functions that we're going to go over, and then here are the methods. These are all list methods, specific to the list object that we're gonna use, just because it's super useful when you're working with lists. These these methods, and also because just to see the kind of the difference between a method and a function. All right, cool. So review how to use a function. You do max, and then parentheses means it's a function. It's like that in all coding languages. And then you can do list. You put inside a parameter. This is what it's called. And in this case, the parameter is our list that contains our integers here. So now x is being assigned to the maximum in the list. And then we can print out x. And then as you can see, we got 12 because 12 is indeed the maximum in that list. So that's quite simple, right? We just put you have the function name, you have the parentheses, and then you put the parameter inside whatever parameter you want. And as you guys know, when you're writing your own functions, you can change up the parameters, make the parameters whatever you want. But we are gonna go, and min is the same way. So let me ask, if we want to find the second to largest object in or second to largest integer in a list, how would we do that? What is the easiest way to do that? Instead of having, say, one variable for the maximum, one variable for the second second least, how would you do that very simply? And you don't have to, you can just talk. Does anyone have an idea? There isn't an easy way to do it. No? Anyone have an idea? Alright, cool. That's fine. So if you find the maximum in the list, alright, you know what that maximum is. It's x, right? It's being assigned to x. In this case, it's 12. And if you know 12, all you have to do is remove 12 from this list. And then once you remove 12 from this list, you can call the max function again. And there you go. The new maximum is 10, which just happens to be, or doesn't happen. Obviously, it is the second largest integer in list. So to do that, you're going to have to remove 12 from the list to actually be able to do anything. You can't just have that static list and call max twice on it. It's going to give you 12 again. So what you need to remove 12. So how do we do that? And this is where we get into list methods. And a method, whenever you hear that word, a method means it is a function that's called onto a object. And objects are, I'm going to go over objects in the future, an actual whole entire lesson on objects too, because they are really important in programming. There's something called object-oriented programming. If you guys know Java, it's pretty much everything, right? We haven't gotten into it yet, but we will eventually, because we had to go over the basics first. So now we're going to be moving on to object-oriented programming. And what object-oriented programming is, if you think about an object in real life, an object could be anything. Like, I'm talking into a microphone right now. I am a person. I'm an object that is a person, right? You guys are all people. You go to a school, which is an object. You drive cars, which are objects. So everything is an object, and all objects have specific attributes to them, right? Cars could be different colors, different types, SUV, sports car, minivan, right? And so they have attributes, and then they have things that they can do in like real life, right? Your microphone can listen to stuff. Your car transports you. Those are all things that they do. And if you want to translate that into coding terms, you can also have an object. And in this object, you can create a bunch of, say you have what is called a class. And once you make a class, you can create a bunch of these objects, all different kinds of objects with different attributes. Like you can have a blue car, green car, yellow car, and then you can have these objects do things. You can create functions for these objects, and what those functions are called are methods, which is what I was talking about before. In this case, the list class is already done. Like someone's already Python, it comes built in, so you don't have to worry about making your own list class. So you have a list object now, right? These are all list objects. Actually, pretty much everything is an object. Everything is an object, right? So list has specific functions tied to it called methods. These are list methods, and these are all of the list methods. There's actually one more. I think, yeah, there's one more. It's called reverse. And if you look at the names of them, most of them are pretty self-explanatory. You have, if you've never programmed before, you might not know what append is, but like you kind of you might have seen the word in real life. Append, you like add on to something, right? You append maybe like a bibliography to your paper or something. Extend might be a little weird. Index, these are insert, self-explanatory. Remove, self-explanatory. Sort, self-explanatory, right? Quite like these are really basic stuff. So why don't we go over a couple of them? And in fact, we'll start with append, and then as we move down, we'll eventually get to remove, and then we'll do that one find the second greatest integer inside of a list kind of function. We can create a function for that actually using other functions and methods, and that'll find the second greatest integer. So in programming, you're gonna get a bunch of these like silly little problems to solve, but it's kind of like, it's fun, as in it's kind of like a game. You're just trying to figure out the best way, the easiest way to solve it, the most efficient, the least code, whatever, right? That's what programming is. It's just solving little problems here and there. So why don't we begin with append? So we did max and min. Oh, and by the way, these are Python built-in functions. They are not specific to lists. Although we've only used them on lists, you can use these on other things. These are specific to lists. Okay, so they're list methods. These specifically are just Python built-in functions. So there's like a little bit of a difference in wording functions in Python. I mean functions and methods. All right, cool. So does anyone have any questions between like the kind of I guess you could call it etymology, or not etymology, just a different naming system between those two? Are we cool on that? It's gonna get less confusing once we get into object-oriented programming, but yeah. And if you guys have any Java experience, everything is just a method, right? All right, cool. Why don't we begin with so does anyone so here we go. When you use in method, you have the object that you're going to be calling it on, and then you do a dot, and then you call the method, which in this case is append, right? That's the first one we want to use. So you do append, just like any other function, just like max and min before, we call the function with the parentheses. However, we call this time on an object. Instead of perhaps putting the list inside as a parameter, we call it on an object because we want to append something to it, right? What we're going to append to the list is what we're going to put in here. For instance, we want to append the number, like, I don't know, we could say 99, right? Now, if you run this code, list is going to have another element in it, 99, obviously, because that's what we told it to do. If you want to check, you can print it out. And there you go, 99. So if you kind of see the difference here, we're not doing list equals because that's not necessary. We're calling it on the list. So, I mean, this would work too. It just would be pretty useless because, yeah, actually, yeah, this is not this is kind of breaking it because it's trying to assign it. Yeah, so don't do it this way. It's gonna break it. It's trying to assign like list, but this doesn't know what list is because they're the same variable name. But don't do it like that. All right. When you have a list, you'd want to append something. You just do list.append. Real simple. All right. Now the question arises: what happens if you want to append another list to this one? And you can do that. You can do it quite easily. You could just do list2. But does anyone know what the problem would be? Like, can you predict the problem that would happen in this case? And as a hint, there's another function called extend, specifically for what we're trying to do. But does anyone like? I want one singular list with all the elements in list 2 and list just regular list. So what's the problem of like just appending a list to a list? Anything? Yeah, essentially, it's one list. However, there's gonna be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, and then there's gonna be another list in there, which is not exactly what we want. It might be what you want, but if you take a look here, you have this list, and it's just added into the original list, and that's not exactly what we want. We want to add the elements in the lists together. So what you do is you use another method. It's just called extend. And if you guys ever don't know like what the specific method is called, you just Google it. This is just Python data structures, and then you get extend, append, insert, remove, pop, clear. So there you go. That's how you would find stuff. Really simple. All right, excellent. Okay, so we're gonna run this again, and now we get what we wanted: one list with the elements in the two lists put together. So that could be useful in the future if you're making, say, like a deck of cards, and you want it, which we're probably gonna do as a example of what a class is and like how objects work. Say you want to add two decks together, in like a lot of games, say blackjack, there's multiple decks, right? There's like 8 deck games, 2 deck games, 4 deck games. You want to add these decks together. You can't just append one deck to the other because it's going to be like an object inside of an object, and it's just not going to work. You want one deck with all the cards in it. So that's a kind of a, if you want to think of a practical example of extend. All right, so we did extend, we did append. Clear, self-explanatory. List.clear, and list is cleared. and if you try to do anything after this, you're not going to get anything. The list has nothing in it. Copy, that returns a copy. So if you want to create a copy and then have two lists that are the same and then make like maybe some difference to one list and then compare the results, that's how you could do copy. Count. Okay, count's kind of count's pretty self-explanatory too. Say you want to have how many times 6 appears in this list. So you just do count 6 and then wait, yeah, sorry. Here we go. Okay. So if you read what I wrote down here, yeah. So these two just append and extend, just add on to the list you currently have. Copy and count, they return an something. They return an object, right? Kind of like max and min, they return an object. So you still call it on a list because it's a method, but they return something and you can print out what they return, which makes sense because you're not gonna print out the list again and then, I mean, the list is not gonna become like a count, right? You don't want your list. You don't want to like say you want to count how many 6s in here and then you turn the list, the entire list, into that like number, just number 2, because that's how many 6s there are. You don't want that, because you want to keep your list. So that's what it returns, something, and then you can print that out. You can assign it to a variable, print it out, and you get 2 because there are 2 6s in there. Let's go down the line. Does everyone kind of understand that? We're on the same page. All right, cool. Okay. Index. Okay, so each of these values elements has an index value, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And say you want to find the index of 12. Just because it's important to you for some reason. You can just do index and then the value that you're trying to find, and then you get 6. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It works. It's not all of these things, they're not just for integer lists. That's what we've been working on before, but I have a string list here if you guys kind of want to see how that works. If we keep it the way it is, it's not going to work because obviously 12 is not in this list. So if you want to do something like club, the string club, and it will find it 0, 1, 2. So just quite simple, returns the index. And okay, here's where we go a little more complicated stuff. Not really though. Say you want to insert an object at element 0, 1, 2, 3. Say you want to insert something here. You can do that. You can even insert like a string into an integer list. So this is gonna change it. So we're gonna go back because this is not returning anything. So if you try to print that out, it's not gonna print anything. So this, change this, insert. This is inserting club into, yeah, wait, let me, I believe there's a, yeah, one sec. So insert, yeah. So just checking the order of that. You're gonna put, okay, cool. So what do we want? Index 3. So this one has 2 parameters. First parameter is the index. Second parameter is what you want to insert. And the order does matter there. If you flick those two, it's not going to work. And once we insert it, printed it out, as you can see, 0, 1, 2, 3, club comes there. And the way insert works is it pushes everything that used to be there, that used to go from index 3 and beyond. It pushes everything to the right. So it doesn't delete anything. It just pushes it to the right and it inserts the whatever you want to insert into it. That cool. Quite simple. Okay, so why don't we go over sort? Sort is also a simple one. It literally does what it says it does. It sorts the list. Uh, so if we want to sort it, just call it here. There you go. So this list isn't sorted. This list is sorted. Yeah, really simple. And then we can do remove and pop. These two things do the same thing, but like different ways of doing the same thing. Say if you want to remove element 1, which in this case is a 6. We can keep this, by the way. You don't have to delete. Like, you can keep on working. So say you want to do list remove the element at 2, right? 0, 1, 2. So what this is going to do is it removes the element at 2, and then because we have sorted it, the new list looks like this, and when we remove it, we're going to be removing a 6. So when we print it out, it's just going to be, oh, my bad, sorry. Sorry, I was thinking of pop. Okay, so this is what pop does. I'll explain remove. Remove is really similar, but pop removes the element at a specific index. So you do pop, and then if you want to look at these two lists, can you guys see that? Or is it too small? All right, great. So as you can see, this one's obviously shorter because we removed the element. And if you look at it, this one's sorted, and then we did another method onto it. We called another method on it, the list, and then we removed 6. So simple stuff, but good to know in the future. And you guys can always look this up if you forget how to use it, which I kind of forgot how to use it then. But all right, we're gonna do remove now, which is the same, but it removes a value, the first value, item with the value, as I wrote down here to not forget. So say you have this list of strings: Kevin, coding, club, CB South, Python, and you wanted to remove club. What you would do is, oh, by the way, you can sort string lists, even if they're not integers. You should be able to. And then, so we can remove club. That's a specific value inside of it. Oh, my bad. Printing list still. All right, great. So if you want to check out the printout, we sorted it first, and you can sort strings. And if you guys have any experience with programming, when you sort strings, it sorts it alphabetically, or it sorts it not exactly alphabetically. It sorts it based on the ASCII values. In this case, it is alphabetical. So CB South comes before club, comes before coding, comes before Kevin, comes before Python. And then what we did is we didn't know where club would end up, and we don't need to know. We can just remove that value, remove club. So in the second list, there's not a club. But there you go. Those are some list methods. Cool. So why don't we kind of use well, yeah, we can use one of them in the say this find the second largest method. We're writing a function to find the second largest value inside of a list. Okay, so do you guys want to write that on your own, and then we can reconvene? You guys can probably actually split up into the groups and then kind of work on that, or you can do it independently. So if like AC, Alex, Clockwood, Connor, sorry, I don't know your actual names. You can change your names, by the way. You can change the nickname. And then you guys can go into one group, and then Fascinator, Kyle, Tommy, Wanig, and then Zach. You guys can go into group 2 and then kind of figure that out. It should be like 3 seconds. But I just want you guys to find the second greatest value in a list. You just click on it. Like that. You see that? You just click on the group name. Just click, oh, are you on your phone still? You should be able to just switch groups. Alright, one sec. I'll be back. Alright, I'm gonna tell the other groups. Alright, I'm gonna put the list that you guys can use in the chat. So in this case, the second largest is what? 12? Yeah. 12. So you want it to print out or return 12. You want your function to return 12. Alright, I put a list in the chat if you guys want to use that list, or you can use your own list. Yeah. Alright, cool. Yeah, there's only 2. You guys don't have to join a group either. I thought, in coding, there's a lot of collaboration. You can work with your friends. Alright, I'm gonna write my own function. Yeah, what's up? Oh, Alex, I mean, not Andrew, did you get the IDE to work? Yeah, Replit? Yeah. Hello? Alright. Cool. Alright, I got it. Did you guys get it? It's just 2 lines, so. Second largest, second largest integer. How's it going? Did you guys get it? All right, cool. We can reconvene it. Yeah, we can go back into the meeting room. All right, cool. Um, yeah, so everyone got it. It's just 2 lines. I'll send the code into Discord. Actually, you know what? I'll just share my screen. Yeah. This is probably the fastest way to do it. So you have a function, you have a list as a parameter. This is just a parameter name. It just so happens to be the same as list. Doesn't have to be. Um, in this list, you call the method remove method, and then inside the remove method you can put max list, which is the built-in function for Python. This finds the max, removes it from list, and then you can just return the new maximum, which just happens to be the second maximum. And if you run this, you get 12, which is correct. So I will copy and paste this function in. Yeah, what's up? Um, so for this purpose, you don't have to, but yeah, you could put it back in. You can just append it on. I mean, I guess, do you want to keep the order the same? Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But for the purpose of this, like, I'm not sure what you want. You can, yeah, you can put it back in. You can append it. You can insert it. I mean, you can do that. That's perfect. Yeah, you can do that. It's just this is the easiest way. So you can probably write a function that has two variables, one of the maximum and then one as like the second maximum, as you can loop through it. But I just wanted to demonstrate that you can use the built-in functions to write. Like, think about it. If you had done it that way, you wouldn't need a for loop. You would need multiple variables. And this way, you need no variables, just two functions. Really simple. So I was just trying to demonstrate to you guys, like, you can write really elegant code with Python. Like, all we have is two separate, two different, one function, one method, and then 2 lines of code, 3 lines if you include the function heading. But this is, yeah, really simple. You're leveraging the power of Python, and kind of just like figuring out a simple way, a creative way to do it. But there you go. That's everything for Python list methods. So you guys are all set for Python for that. We can work on Tic-Tac-Toe now, if you guys want. All right, cool. So why don't we split up again? And if we want to look at what we accomplished last week, we have the board now, and we can print the board out, which is great. So, and then we can print out. We can check for horizontals, and the way this function works is if there is a winner, it returns the value of the winner, which saves some time in the future. You can return true or false, like check win, if false if no one has won, true if someone has won. But to make our lives easier, we just return the person who has won. And I want you guys to write, because coding is collaborative, so like you can work on separate parts of the project and then combine it later. And it's like best when I'm not just lecturing to you guys how to code. That's pretty boring, I think. boring for me, boring for you. So why don't you split up, and then I want one group to check for vertical winners and one group to check for diagonal winners, and it should be pretty easy. And for the vertical winners, use a for loop while you're doing it too. The horizontal winners, you just need to check two things, so you don't really need a for loop. So if you guys want to split up back into your groups, and then group 1 you can work on the verticals, group 2 you can, you know what, yeah, group 1 you can work on verticals, group 2 you can work on the horizontals or diagonals. Should be quite quick, like 2 minutes. Cool. Alright, I'll join you guys. Looks like the other group has more people. This one's, yeah, this one should be just, it's like just literally just 2 if statements. So it's super simple. Alright, I'll check back. Let's check out what's going on in the other group. Oh yeah, do you guys need the code? If you want to cheat, the answer, I have all the code that we write is on GitHub, so you can just look at the answers. Uh, but I can send you the code that we've written so far. I realized that, yeah, it's actually kind of annoying to type code and copy people code. But yeah. Oh, yeah, it's on the website. Everything's on the website. I can send you the GitHub link too, but everything's on the website. I put the code for what we have so far. If you guys weren't like copying, because that's pretty boring. And if you ever need to find the code that we work on, it's on GitHub. So even if you want to look at the answers to this problem, I guess not problem, this little like silly thing, is on GitHub. Yeah. Put the link to that in the chat too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so spacing is really important in Python, and when you copy and paste stuff, sometimes it doesn't work out. Is it not working? It seems fine, for me. Hmm. Okay, is the spacing the same? It should be. Sorry. From GitHub, PyCharm is not letting you edit code. What? What? That's so weird. You want to share your screen? Take a look. You're good. Alright. Oh, okay. So you don't have a Python interpreter, which is weird. So you can go to the left, oh, right, sorry, and then do Python configure Python interpreter, or and then add interpreter. Nothing pop up. What the heck? Okay, go to the little like, huh? No, it's okay. I'll explain. Um, yeah, wait. I think you just shared your window. But if you go into, yeah, just share your like entire screen. Okay, cool. Now I can see it. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that should be fine. You can just do okay. Oh, did you install Python? And you could run code before. Okay. Go to file settings. And then okay, so it's on Python interpreter. Go to the like little drop down. Okay. You can try show all. See if you can find anything. Nothing to show. Okay, terrific. Well, that's not good. Let me see. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Let me see. All right, so you want to do, you can do plus, like the little plus thing. Um, Try system interpreter if you've downloaded it. Yeah, wait, that's the, mm, yeah, just try it. Try it. Okay. Valid. The heck? Wait, 1 second. Okay, so when you press OK, nothing. It doesn't work. Yeah, Is it gonna let you run it though? I'm not sure. Yeah. So. That's weird. Go into your main. Yeah. And this works? This works, right? No, it doesn't work. No. Okay. Wait, what happened between now and then? That's so weird. Yeah, it has it right there. Project default Python 3.9. And then if you click on the drop down, that's the only one that's there. Python interpreter, yeah. Which one which one doesn't work? One of them doesn't. Okay. Yeah, no, you're good. And you installed Python and it worked before. That's so weird. I might just make a new project and then like set it up. I don't know. No, but I don't think that fixed the problem. I'm not sure why it's just not working. Okay, let me see. Exit code 909. Okay, so it's a bad path apparently, which makes sense. Did you change the location of your Python thing? So basically, it's like you're pointing it to a location and then it doesn't exist. Yeah, it's not gonna be in the structure. It's just gonna be in your like system files. No, no, it's so yeah, you're trying to point it to a specific like location, but it can't find the location of your file. Yeah. All right. Well, why don't you use Replit right now? Replit never lets us down. PyCharm always lets us down. Okay. Why don't we just reconvene then? All right. Why don't we reconvene? You guys all finished it? You shouldn't like that was a little while. I was working out some issues with the other group. So you guys are good, right? Oh, I guess we're just joining group one. All right, cool. All right, I'll share my screen. And I'll show you my code. All right, here we go. So let me just copy and paste this in. All right, excellent. So I have it labeled here to the side. Check verticals. This one is just a for loop, so I wanted it to loop because it wasn't a I wasn't looping through the rows. I was because each row is a list, so it's easy to loop through those rows. I wanted to loop specific index values. So I for column in range 3, which what it does is goes 0, 1, 2. as it loops through, call goes 1. I mean, it's assigned the value 0 first, then 1 first, then 2. So you have board at 0, which is the first list, and then board at 1, and then board at 2. So it's taking each of these lists and it's taking the column index of the list. So when the first time it loops through it, it's gonna check for column 0. Right, because column is gonna be assigned 0. So 0 0 is obviously this column here, the first column, and then it goes to 2 0, this value here, and then sorry, that's 1 0. Then 2 0 is this value here, and then finally I want to check if the first value is not empty. So if it's empty, obviously no one has won. But if it's 3 empties in a row, then someone can, because this is going to work if it's 3 empties in a row. We went over that before. And then I just returned the first value. And check diagonals is super similar also. You have the 0 0. This one's just like a complete brute force. We're not even for looping this one. You got 0 0, just this one, and then 1 1, and then 2 2. And if you trace it back, that's checks for this diagonal, and then this one checks for the other diagonal, and then if it finds a winner, it returns the value of the winner. So there you go. That's your check win function. All right, great. So I think that's a pretty good foundation. We have the board and then the check win, which are pretty important, obviously for Tic-Tac-Toe. Why don't I give you guys the code? I can give you guys the code for the other 2 functions that I used. GetMove just receives the move from the player, so it inputs. What input does is it requests a value from the player. So if we were to go back to our learn.py and come down here, and then we do input, or let's assign input a value, x value of input, and then it's going to prompt the user to insert something. What you type in here is what it prompts it. Just make sure. Yeah. So like, what's your name? And then we can print out the value of x. So when we run this, it's going to come down here, and it's going to ask you what's your name inside the console, and then you can type something. And in PyCharm, it's nice and green, so it knows you're inputting something. Because, so you input something, and then you just press enter, and then it prints it out, because that's what we wanted to do. That's what we wanted it to do. So how the Tic-Tac-Toe game works is it asks a user for an input with the grid system. So first it alternates between X and Y. So starting with X, it asks for the row. So in this case, if I want to play here, I can do 1, enter. What column do you want to play? 1, enter, and it puts an X there. So that's just a really simple way of interacting with the user. So to get users' inputs into the system. So I'll give you the function for GetMove, and then you guys can create the function play, which is the actual game itself. It has a turn count, it has like checks if the winner is anything, and then it prints if the winner has won. It receives like, I'll show you what GetMove does. So GetMove returns 2 values. It returns the row choice and the column choice, which is really simple. It's just whatever I've entered in. So in this case, the row choice would be 1, and the column choice would be also 1. But that's what it returns 2 values. So if you remember, you can assign 2 values in Python at the same time, 2 variables at the same time. If you want to look down here, that's what row and column are doing. It's assigning 2 GetMove. It's assigning the row and the column at the same exact time, because this is returning 2 values, so 2 variables get 2 values. So I'll give you the GetMove function. I'll just copy and paste that into Discord, and then you guys can create your own Tic-Tac-Toe game, because The fun of it is in the creating. It's not in listening to someone ramble on and on about code, which is extremely boring. So, if you have any questions, ask. And if you want to know how GetMove works, it's quite a simple thing. I'm sure you guys can decipher it. You can also ask that too. But I think we'll end the meeting there. It's been pretty long. It's been an hour. So, and if you guys want to know the answer, it's on GitHub, or not the answer, right? Because it's not a problem. It's not like a math problem. Create your own solutions. Oh, wrong one. So if you want to find it, it's on the website GitHub, and then I think I called it Tic-Tac-Toe 3x3. So yeah, Tic-Tac-Toe 3x3, and it's all here. But try to do it yourself. It's more fun that way. But there you go. Cool. Anyone have any questions before we end the call? Does everyone kind of feel like they've got Python basics locked down? We'll go through like object-oriented programming, and then you guys got it all. You're good to go. Yeah, no problem, guys. Thanks for coming. See ya.